Well, Mama told me when I was young, said sit beside me, my only son, and listen closely to what I say. And if you do this, it'll help you some sunny day. It will.
I'm here for the Kinsler family. My husband David has known Mike since he was 16 years old. He was the best man at their wedding, and we have just had some of the most awesome times in our life with their family. One of our most favorite places in the world to go was Clear Lake.
And
always.
The picture was taken.
Oh yeah, you know. And the greatest part about it was we got to go there before we had kids. I told Mike the last time I see him, he owes me because he was on his way going over a fence one night into the river, and he may not have made it through that one, and I grabbed him and saved him. I'm like, you always owe me for that.
Dee Dee and Mike had a court case, and we all showed up in the courtroom. And I thought when Mike came in that he looked pretty dapper. He's wearing this black shirt and these black shorts, and I thought he looked damn good, right? And so the judge comes in, everybody stands up, and the judge spent the first 15 minutes admonishing Mike for wearing shorts in his courtroom. And Mike's like, well, I don't know. My wife picked out my clothes for me. So he totally threw Dee Dee under the bus.
There you go, Dee.
Damn good.
He's the best man I've ever met in my life. He's a great father, great husband, excellent man all around. Almost 13 years to the day of his passing, he became a role model to the most dysfunctional group of kids in the world. I won't lie. I'm one of them. As we were known as the Yellow Children.
Yeah.
I love that man with all my heart. I'll miss you. And when I see you again,
Have a Bud Light.
Have a Bud Light. You're damn
I'll be expecting a good cold one with you and your best buddies. Cheers, Uncle Mike.
I love Mike a lot. We had a lot of good times and stuff. We'd be out the track, and I'd say, man, I don't know what the heck's wrong with my bike. I don't think we're going to be a race. He'd say, dude, clean the air filter. Okay? Just little stuff like that. We've had a couple of good times and bad times. We had an argument over a gallon of milk one time. Yeah, that's just Mike. These guys know what I'm talking about. We had a motorhome full of people, and it was just a fiasco over a gallon of milk. So I told him, I said, you know what? We were out in Fernley. I said, I'll walk to the damn store and buy you another gallon of milk. Okay? Well, not much for words. I love Mike. Mike made a big implant on my life and my family. And this is to Mike.
I've never met like a dad that was more proud of his kids than Mike, and he was a super good guy, and I know he's proud of you guys. He's looking at you guys.
Absolutely.
And I love you guys, and I got you. Hard to believe that he's gone, and we love you, and we're gonna make you proud. All of us.
One thing my dad said would be one of the most proudest moments of his life was to see me, Gavin, and Dallas graduate.
It's coming soon.
And he's gonna have that.
And he's watching.
He's gonna have it.
Now, Mike was like our painting and screen making guy. And he acted like he enjoyed doing that. But I found out the secret to him enjoying that was Bud Light.
The one time that I ever saw Mike laugh, the hardest I've ever seen him laugh, was Ed Semino's dog, Sprocket, I'm sure you all know, tackled a little kid and started humping the shit out of this little kid. And Mike could have pulled the dog off, but instead he sat there and watched until somebody else got the dog.
Mike was a great man, and
he did a lot for me and my family. Always helped us out when we needed it. And it's sad to see him go. But I know he's looking down on us, drinking beers, probably falling over in chairs. Never know with Mike. But it's more of a toast than a speech. There you go. That's all you.
Oh boy.
The only thing I can remember that Mike always was bitching about is that you would always come over to the house and drink with me. And then we'd have to call the kids to come and get you.
I remember a time when Mike forcefully made me load my bikes in his trailer and took me to Riverfront E Street, which is tracks up in Northern California. Trust me, he had my arm like this, and I was like, all right, if you insist. Went up there, had a great time. He made some amazing food that I will never forget, and we had the most amazing time, and I would say the freaking coldest water. Remember that? Holy cow. Everything was small that day.
When the boys were born, when Rod and you and Mike and I went out to eat, you and Rod had slipped away to get, it was a buffet to get some more food, and Mike and I were sitting there. It was really quiet because it's the first time I ever really had a moment with him alone, and so I said, so you do know that if you ever hurt Dee Dee, I'm going to kick your ass. And he smiled and he laughed and he said, okay. And then not too long ago, when he was showing me the chickens, your new chickens, I said, Mike, you've done a pretty good job taking care of Dee Dee. And he goes, yeah? And I said, yeah. And he goes, so there's no chance of you kicking my ass? And I said, not yet.
I've known Mike for a long, long time.
Oh my God.
So there's a lot of stories. Mike put on probably the best air race party ever. In the middle of the desert, every year, forever, since teenagers. He was one of my friends.
My favorite memory of Mike was my first time on a boat. It was my dad in the front seat and Uncle Mike driving, or sailing, or whatever. Driving. And I was in the back seat and I was having the time of my life. He just kept going and faster, and I was just screaming with laughter because I was petrified I was going to fall off the boat. And the whole time, Uncle Mike, every couple of seconds, he would look back and just smile because he knew that I was having a fun time. And that was my favorite moment.
I met Mike in 1969.
That was the year I was born. I was
I was 7 years old and moved to his neighborhood, and he's a couple, 3 years older than me, and him and the older kids. Well, actually, Mike was my first bully. Kind of bullied me a little bit, but we got to be good friends after that. We tore up every square inch of ground on motorcycles from Lemon Valley to Moon Rocks and back. Drink a lot of beer and smoke a lot of weed with him. And he's and like everybody's saying, every time I'd run into him, I didn't see him a whole lot, but when I did run into him, he was bragging about his kids and the motocross, and just the pride in his eyes was pretty touching. So, rest in peace, brother. Thank you.
He always bragged about Dallas and Eric.
Yep.
And it got to a point when we'd show up at the meetings in the morning, we'd have to say, Mike, shut up about your goddamn kids. I'm glad your kids are doing well, but maybe mine aren't, all right? But I mean, he was just so proud of you boys. You were his life. He loved you very much.
It was hard to believe my dad thought he didn't have so many people that he affected in his life. And if he's seeing this right now, he'll be surprised at how many people he affected in his life. And it's great to see this.
Kind of man, won't you do this for me, son, if you can? So baby, be a simple man. Oh, won't you do care.